Hey everyone, this is the Mind Workshop podcast. I'm your host, Victor Dwyer, and today we have Karen on, and we're going to be talking about acceptance and really cultivating happiness. I'm really pumped about this episode. We had a really good conversation, and Karen's going to give us a little intro about who she is, real fast, and then we're going to dive into right about cultivating happiness. Karen, thank you so much for joining today. Give us a little intro about who you are.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, Victor. It's a real pleasure. And I support online entrepreneurs who are in the pursuit of success by eliminating anxiety, self-doubt, people pleasing, which is a
Mhm.
real issue, so that they can create more resilience, more inner strength, and have sustainable success. So that's pretty
Mhm.
much what I do in a nutshell.
Cool, that's awesome. And I feel like so many people these days, to your point about people pleasing and then self doubt, like I feel like so many people have that these days. What do you usually see um, a limit? Like, what's their best way to kind of counter that anxiety, self doubt, people pleasing? What is your process for kind of countering that and becoming a little bit better, a little bit happier of a person when it comes down to those things?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know this very, very well because it was me for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
For way, way, way too many years. And what happened was I ended up in 2018 developing a system. It's called the Awesome Life Success System, which is designed to help you alleviate all of these things, along with the heart energy techniques, which are tools that energetically remove a lot of the doubt. The A in awesome is actually an acronym. And the
Mhm.
A in awesome stands for awareness and allowing. And that is the key. You have to recognize that it isn't just the anxiety, there's a fear behind that. And what is the fear?
Mhm.
And why is it there? And I'm not talking about going deep because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist.
Mhm.
Uh, but what I have found are most people are in need of help, but maybe they don't need psychiatric help. They don't need uh, physicians and pills because that is pretty much what is popped to them, which have side effects, which create more problems, and of course, creates more anxiety. And then, of course, it's the self doubt. So we build up that recognition that we are amazing. Our bodies, our minds are amazing. And when we get our conscious mind working with our subconscious mind, life becomes a whole lot easier. And that's where the awareness of it, and then just allowing it to happen, facing our fears. Fear is another acronym for false evidence appearing real. That's
Mhm.
all. And
I love that.
and it is, we learn from the earliest days of our lives. Uh, we interpret things, and those things may or may not be accurate.
Mhm.
Um, I was watching a movie the other night, and with Liam Neeson and his son. They were both grieving the loss of their mother and their wife, and the son said, all I remember is that my mom was so angry with me and I don't know why.
Mm.
And it's made me afraid to look at that. I make all women angry. That's all there is. I make all women angry and I don't know why. And
Mhm.
come to find out, no, it was the husband who had not followed through, and the little boy almost drowned when the husband was supposed to be watching it. So the mother was angry with the husband, not the son.
Yeah.
It's interpretation. This is carried through the generations, through the years. And I say generations because I do past life stuff, clearings, ancestral clearings, because we do pick up things from our ancestors and whatnot. So the key is to become aware of it, acknowledge it, and as with all fears, once we look at it for what it really is, it's almost miraculous. It almost disappears by itself. It's like, geez,
Yeah.
I've been carrying this around for so long. It does not have to be so hard.
Yeah, and what I've noticed that I've been starting to like for every emotional thing I have, like for example, like I had the fear of being alone, and then the first memory that I associated with being alone was this scared girl like trapped in this basement, and I was like, that is so weird. And where I'm going with this is because even like certain memories that happen to us, like you can still form memories of things that didn't even happen to you and associate them and increase that. Like, for example, that made me where I was fear of being trapped, fear of being alone. And it's not even my memory. It's or like it's not even my like I didn't even like that did not happen to me. And like it's just my brain formed that somewhere randomly in my brain and said, "Hey, this is something you should be scared of." And um and then I eventually altered the memory. I use things to like kind of alter the memory. Sometimes I will make it where instead of a dark room, it's a bright room, and now it's a party, like whatever type of thing. And then now like everything's bouncing. Now it's a bounce house or something else, and you can alter the memory. So taking that like scared little girl and then making it where it's fun now. I usually make it funny in some way, and you can alter these memories, and it makes it where that emotional response you have is dramatically decreased.
Yeah.
So meaning that fear of being alone, fear of being trapped, making it where there's less memories associated with it, making that power, that fear factor, a lot less. And that's how I've been approaching like kind of all the emotional things I go through. Like right now, for today, I was like, there's for some reason there's a guy that's just like super angry and screaming. And, like I have dreams where I'm like screaming, and I never do that. And I was like, okay, what's going on in here? And then there's just a guy inside of me that's literally just screaming and like super angry. And then I'm like, hey, like, and then I just literally like gave the guy in my brain like just a big hug, and like the amount of emotional pressure that I felt like relief off of that was insane. So like basically going to your point about these memories and these random memories that form, like all of a sudden your brain will pick something that's important just by randomly picking and say, hey, this guy's screaming, like I'm angry, and like and it will isolate itself. Even though I'm a very calm person, it will still be angry on the side. And it's like, no, like you have to reach out and say like, okay, what are you doing? And then give it love most of the time for the insecure voices, and that will make it a lot better. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, all of that is absolutely wonderful. And the one thing I want to really stress is what works for one person may not work for somebody else. And that's
Hmm.
okay. That's why I have 1,600 miles of toolbox to choose
Yeah.
from. And again, I've gone through it all. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So you need to have multiple tools. I love what you're doing, that you are
Hmm.
able to, while you are sleeping, really be able to give the great big hug. What I have found oftentimes is that people will have those screaming things and they do get afraid. And why is this person screaming at me? What did I do? Geez, crow. And then what I find really amazing is listen, just ask,
Hmm.
why are you screaming at me? Please
Yeah.
help me understand. I meant no ill intent. I'm even going to give you a hug to let you know that I love you. I love you. I meant no
Hmm.
ill intent. And why are you screaming? I don't
Yeah.
understand. So have a conversation, but I also love what you brought up of making it fun, making
Mhm.
it enjoyable. making a game of it, because that is the E in awesome. The final E stands for enjoyment, because fun and enjoyment is number one. You got to enjoy what you're doing. Sometimes you don't enjoy what you're doing, and that's understandable. And we can't always enjoy it, but it is important to know that what you are doing, the end game, is going to be enjoyable. Sometimes you have to do the unenjoyable things so that you can have a better outcome. Uh,
Mhm.
Most of us don't want to go up and hug a screaming person,
Yeah.
because you might get hit across the head. But if you can do it and make it, hey, I can satisfy you, I can help you, I can make you feel better. And with this, we never erase the memories. The memories are there, whether they came from us. You were talking about being a little girl. Well, obviously, you're not a little girl. You've
I would
never
hope not.
been there.
I checked. Nope, I'm not.
No, no. So, so that could have been something from your past, or from your mom's past, for that matter. But it wasn't yours. So being able to look at it and say, all right, I appreciate what this is trying to tell me, or actually, I don't know what this is trying to tell me, but I'm open to listening to hear what it's trying to tell me, and help me to explain that this is not my memory. This is somebody else's. This is not mine. So I don't need to hang on to it. It's okay to let it go. So you might remember that you had the memory, but there's no trigger involved. And that's what we do with the Awesome Life Success System and the heart energy techniques, is to release those triggers, so the memories just, oh, oh, all right, that happened. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. I think I'm beyond that now. I've learned from it. I can celebrate. I've learned, I've enjoyed, and I've become a better person from it, because
And
everything we do is an opportunity for education.
yeah, you're totally right. And what's amazing about the memory point that I wanted to mention was that a lot of us think that memories are like videos inside of our brain. Memories are very easily altered, and I didn't really realize that how much our mind can alter things. If you were to ask me 2 years ago, Victor, how much did you work when you were a teenager? I would have said, I worked a little bit, but I created a video highlight of my life, like it's the story of my life video that basically explains like all the different things that I worked. I worked my butt off, and I had no idea, and it completely changed my perception of my memories and who I am. So every time now when I do something fun, do an event or anything else, I create a video compilation of it because it alters my brain, the memory, and it alters it and makes it a lot more fun than the original memory associated with it. So that's where like I really just dive into the power of, if I have a bad memory, I can alter it however I want. I can even like I chatted with Oz, another person on my podcast, and he alters it by changing the color. You can flip it upside down, like you can rewind it, you can make it in slow mo, like you can alter these memories and however you want, and just do crazy things with it. And the reasoning why is to either make it funny for me, so that way funny, or some like to your point, enjoyment, and making it where it's just very very fun for me, and I have a better perception of the world because of that, to be honest.
Well, absolutely. I love that you do that. It's the movie. One of my mentors has always said, life is a movie. It's only a movie. When you start getting upset, it's only a movie. You can get up, you can walk out, you can change it. You don't have to watch this movie. You don't have to be in this movie anymore. And neurolinguistic programming actually um, has a technique for creating that movie, that video, and it's so much fun. It's like you say, all right, so here we are. We're looking at this movie, the movie of your life. This is the movie of your life. And if you look at it, you'll notice the triggers. If you allow yourself to be aware,
Mhm.
then you notice the triggers that are happening, the emotions that are rising inside of you. And so what you do, all right, you go through it and you see it. And as you say, when you change your perception, it's a favorite saying of mine. When you change your perception, you change your truth. So
Yeah.
change your perception and your truth changes. So, yes, all right, this may have happened in your mind. It may not have been exactly what happened, like I was talking about with the perception that a young boy has that his mom's mad at him. But as you say, make it fun. So then you rewind it. And each time you rewind it, you go faster and faster and forward fast, backward fast. And each time you rewind it, then you add music to it
Yeah.
and make it like
Yeah.
or circus music. Just
Mhm.
rewind it with the circus music, and now watch it going forward, and fast forward, and now you can take out the pieces that are causing you any sort of angst, because we've become more aware and we're allowing this to happen, and we are allowing ourselves to let go, to
Yeah.
release. And when we release that angst, when we release that clutter, when we release and change that perception to something that is more satisfying, and it's not lying. A lot of people say, "Well, Karen, you're just lying to yourself," or you're a Pollyanna. And you know what I say to them? Nothing wrong with being a Pollyanna. Nothing at all. I and who was it? It was Wayne Dyer, I think, who said, "Of course I'm realistic. I believe in miracles." And
Uh-huh.
I do. I'm very real. If anybody really talked to me, I am very realistic. I look at what is going on around us, but I also know that that can change when you change your perception of it. So I love the fact that you create a little video movie of your life. Put in a little bit, take out a little bit, create the life that you want. That is what an awesome life is creating the life that you want, looking at it in a different way. People will say, well, I have fibromyalgia. I can't do this. Guess what? You can always do it something. It may not be the way that you, Victor, or myself, Karen, would do it, but heck, I wouldn't do it the way Victor does it. And he wouldn't do it the way I do it. I am very slow. I'm very methodical. And people say, oh, Karen, don't put yourself down. And no, I'm not putting myself down. I'm being realistic, because I've learned that for me, I need to take it slow. I have to go back to the beginning and create little baby steps to to learn something new, to change things. And it is a choice. It
Yeah.
We all have that choice. Um, may I share with you a little thing that happened to me yesterday that brought it
Yeah.
all home for me?
Let's do it.
Yesterday, I thought, dang, this is not a good day.
Uh-huh.
I accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish, and then the technology stopped. I could not do the finished product that I wanted to do. And then there were numerous other things that occurred. And I said to myself, Karen, you have a choice. You have a choice. Is this the way you want to feel? And no, it isn't. Well, you have a choice. And I thought, Yeah, you know what? It's like we were talking about earlier. Joy comes from inside. It's happiness comes from outside sources. I mean, watching a puppy or a baby laugh or the sunshine outside can make us happy. But joy, real joy, comes from inside, in our hearts, in our bodies. And that is where I usually come from. Yesterday, that wasn't the case.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, it's a choice, Karen. That's what you keep saying. That's what you tell your clients. It is a choice. You know for a fact it is a choice. How come you're not feeling this joy inside of you? And then let's go back. Let's be realistic. Let's look at the facts. And the fact was that I had not been eating the way I would be beneficial for me. So it was very difficult for me to find that joy inside because I hadn't been giving my body the nourishment I needed to have to feel it.
Hmm.
So being able there are outside influences that occur and being aware of those and then making the choice, are you going to do something about it or not? Are you going to continue eating all those half a container of M&Ms or not?
Yeah.
And
It,
okay, I'm making the choice. I'm not going to do that because I really am not enjoying the way I'm feeling right now. And I far prefer to have fun being number one. So today is a whole new day. I had a great new opportunity.
That's great. I love that. Can you go into a little bit about the tools that you talked about? Um, for example, if I was a person that had anxiety, that had self doubt, and go through the or a people pleaser, what are some of the tools that you would use to kind of change that with inside? I guess I described one of the tools that how I countered it, but I'd love to hear anything else that you would have to also alter those things and counter those things.
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the basic tools that is known by most everybody is really, again, becoming aware, aware of your strengths and aware of your values. And that is the very first thing I do in the system. It's a very simple um, spreadsheet of sorts, checklist. What are my values? Why are they my values? Becoming really clear and aware. And then taking the top 5 values and recognizing that you're people pleasing, you have the self doubt, you have this anxiety because you are not living your values.
Mhm.
When you are living your values, there's nothing, you are unstoppable. You really are. So it's having that. Now, whether you do it with my program or there are free tools online for just Google value list or quizzes. I love them. Anyway,
Mhm.
that is one thing, and reminding yourself what your values are, knowing those. And when you get upset, when you get anxious, notice where it is in your body. I automatically put my hand on my heart because that is where it always shows up for me. I thought I was very strange for years because everybody I know says, "Oh yeah, I feel it in my gut." And I never did. I felt it in my heart. My heart hurt when I was not living my values. And I didn't know that at the time. I just knew that my heart hurt. And so listening into your body, actually putting your hand on that part of your body that is
Mhm.
anxious, that is worried, and breathe into that part of the body. And just as you're breathing in, taking a deep breath in and holding it for 2 seconds. I do a 4-4-8. So breathing in for 4, holding it for 4, breathing out for 8, and doing that just 3 times. And then notice your body again and feel into it and recognize how you would like to have it instead. What is the outcome that you would like to have? Again, being aware and allowing that outcome. And the outcome, I guarantee you, you don't want to be anxious and nervous and pee your pants while you're standing up on stage, right? You want a
Yeah.
great outcome. What is that outcome, though? So many of us don't recognize that. So breathing into it. Another technique that I find invaluable, which is I use in all of the heart energy techniques, is tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique. And that is very simple. Do you know what that is, Victor? Have
Mm-mm.
you ever experienced
I've
that?
heard of it, but I forgot what it meant.
Yeah, EFT is emotional freedom technique, and it's tapping on the energy meridians. And what we're doing when we're doing that is releasing the energy, the negative energy that is causing this anxiety, and replacing it with the positivity and sealing in the positivity. And it's wonderful. Would you like an example? Do we have
Yeah.
um so what I do is just feel in where how am I feeling? All right, I'm anxious. I'm anxious. I, on a scale of 0 to 10, I am an 11. I am over the moon. I am angry. I am anxious. I'm scared. And when you're at that level, then you just start tapping on the inside of your eyebrow, the outside of your eye, under your nose, right in the crease of your chin. The collarbone is, I just use my whole hand there. And some people do under the arm and the top of the head. Now, just by doing that while you are in that state and making a conscious choice that this state is not where you want to be, but acknowledging that this is how you are, and speaking out loud also helps a lot. So, well, that's what EFT is. You do say it out loud, and I'll go in a little bit more afterwards. But say, all right, I am so blickety blank anxious. I don't want to do this. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go through the roof. I'm going to explode. My whole body is going to explode. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's horrible. I am the worst person in the world. I am scared to death and I don't know what to do, and my mind isn't working, and that's all there is to it, and there's no blickety blank stuff that you can do to change it. So deal with it. But I can't deal with it. But maybe I can just for a minute. Maybe I can just for 1 minute. No, I don't think I can even do it for 1 minute. But maybe I can. Yeah, I think I can. I I'm a good person. I know what I'm doing, and the anxiety I know is simply fear. So, yeah, all right. For the next minute, I'm going to be okay. For 1 minute, I'm okay. That works. I can be okay for 1 minute. That's my choosing. For 1 minute, I can make it okay. And then just take a deep breath. Put your hand on the inside of your wrist, your palm of your other hand on the inside of the wrist. Take a deep breath in and breathe out and say peace. And you notice that that level has gone down. No more you're at an 11. You might be at an 8. You might even be at a 3. It goes down very quickly because we are acknowledging, we are facing what is going on. And we're making the choice that that is not where we prefer to be. And you can do that. This has been shown to completely eliminate serious traumas. You know,
Mhm.
there we do it in Africa with tribes that have been obliterated, with children that have seen their parents murdered in front of them and their sisters raped, and they have been enlisted to do horrible things that are just totally against their value system. So they're in trauma. And within one day, it can be totally shifted where there is no more trigger. That's what trauma is. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or anything else, but it's the triggers. If we can remove those triggers so that we can make the choices that help us make better choices and to create a life of awareness, allowing, and enjoyment, being awesome.
Mhm.
There are numerous other things. I love journaling. Journaling is a major go-to. Um, a lot of people say, well, I don't know what to journal. You know, all right. I have journals for all kinds of situations. And I have my gratitude journal. And every day I write in there 5, just one liners, 5 things I'm grateful for. And that starts off my day on an up note because you're writing, you're you're basically writing to the universe. I'm
Yeah.
happy. The sun is shining. Uh, I woke up on my own without the alarm.
Mhm.
Um, I I get to stand vertical today.
Mhm.
I have food in the house. I have I have a phone. This is so cool. I am grateful. I am grateful. So just 5 things each day.
Yeah.
Then I have another journal that I write my perfect day.
Mhm.
And I tell you, Victor, that was hard. Writing your perfect day because every day is different, right?
Yeah.
So, starting off with how would you like this day to be? This is my perfect day. And it already started because I'm awake and I'm writing in my journal, right?
Mhm.
So, and it feels pretty good because I've already done my gratitude. And then from there, yeah, I want to leisurely have a cup of coffee and go out and so on and so forth. But writing that now, with that said, my life turned around when I wrote in a horrible old notebook that I really didn't like the looks of. It was black and white and it just was all scratched up. It had all kinds of pasty things on it. And I was mad. I was so angry. I was so despondent. I said, my life will never change. And I wrote down what had triggered me
Mhm.
and made me so angry, and how frustrated and angry I was with myself because I could not make somebody else do something. And the fact is, we only have control over ourselves. We don't have control over anybody else. And that made me mad because I want to have control over somebody else. And I wrote it all out and I said, damn. And obviously, I don't do a lot of swearing.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I said damn was really something. And I said, I just have to find a way to resign myself to living a mediocre life. That's all there is to it. And never be happy for the rest of my life. That's all. That's it. That's all I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to do it, but I have 30 years to go. And yeah, it's a deal with it, Karen. Just deal with it. And I wrote it all out in this miserable book.
Mm-hmm.
And Victor, within 20 minutes, my life changed.
Hmm.
That was in 2018. In 20 minutes, my life changed. And people started calling me out of the blue. I was feeling like I don't have a friend in the world. And I had people calling me saying, I'm such a terrible friend because I know that you needed something and I wasn't there for you. And I said, excuse me? And then somebody called and said, Karen, I need your help because I'm in crisis right now and I need to hire you. And I said, excuse me? And she said, yeah, you helped me. You helped me so much 5 years ago. I said, why didn't you tell me that 5 years ago? That would have made a big difference in my life. But
Mm-hmm.
no, they didn't tell me 5 years ago, but life changed simply because I wrote out exactly the way I felt and I let go. I let go of the need to hang on to any of it.
Yeah. Especially when we grow up, we feel a lot of shame for feeling certain emotions, especially like being a guy. Like it's we're basically trained to say, "Hey, like big boys don't cry." And like that's kind of like a big no-no. And I had to like eventually talk to myself and say like it's okay to feel pain. It's okay to be sad. Like these are normal human emotions, but my for some reason my brain shamed those emotions and said, "Hey, that's not okay. Like you're not allowed to feel shame. You're not allowed to feel pain." And so when I would feel sadness or feel anything else, my brain would be like, no, like I'm that's wrong, like that's incorrect. It's an incorrect emotion, and it's like no, you have to allow yourself to feel pain. You have to allow yourself to do those things in order to be whole. And that took a lot of training, a lot of healing to basically be able to say like, hey, it's okay to feel pain, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel sadness, and because these are all like normal emotions. So I had to basically go against that programming of saying no, big boys don't cry, and say, hey, like it's okay, like it's all good type of thing.
And not only is it okay, it is what is wrong with so many of us in this world because we didn't get to that point. You're so enlightened being able to say it's okay. Not only is it okay, but it's important because if I shove it down, I'm going to get sick. If you shove it down and shove it down and you say, it wasn't anything, it's okay, I'm over it, it's okay. No, until you actually express it, look at it, and really, really recognize it for what it's worth, um, it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. That's all there is to
Mhm.
it.
And it comes back in really weird ways.
It
like
does.
like I don't even like it's really hard to even describe. Like for example, like I have this one insecurity about me being fat. So when I went through a fat phase, and basically ever since then I worked out like insanely. Like I worked out like crazy. And no matter how skinny I got, I never thought like I always thought I was fat no matter how skinny I got. And I was like, why is this a thing? Like why do I care about this? And then I the first thing that came up was this voice saying, I'm fat. Oh my gosh, I'm fat. Oh my, like And I was like, why? Like, why do you think this? Like, type of thing. And just having that conversation. And to your
Mhm.
point, like, that conversation is like so valuable of just asking, like, why? Like, why do you think this? Like, then I realized, oh, it's because I'm not comfortable with who I am, and really
Mhm.
diving down. But until you have that conversation, repressing it makes you feel better. I recently watched a video that we either spend our entire lives protecting ourselves, or we spend our entire lives freeing ourselves. And most of us go our entire lives just protecting who we are, saying, "Oh, this is just who we are." Like, I could have just said, "Oh, I just love working out," and like not done anything, just thinking I'm fat my entire life, and just worked out like till I died, basically. And I would have never been happy that way. No matter how much I would have got stronger, no matter how much good I looked, like, I would have always thought I was fat. I would have always been protecting that insecurity inside of me. But it's really important to to free yourself. In order to do that, you have to have that conversation, which is not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to have that conversation eventually, or it's just going to keep coming up in horrible, horrible ways. So you have
Mhm.
to eventually bite the bullet, essentially, and say, hey, why is this happening to me? Why am I feeling this way? And then just accepting it for what it is. Because we all have crazy voices inside of us. Like, to be honest, it's just most of us don't realize that they're there. They just come out in really, really weird ways, basically. So it's really important to realize that, and having that conversation. Like, for example, when I first talked to my inner critic, I think it was like 4 paragraphs long. Like, my first conversation with my inner critic, of just saying, like, oh my gosh, why are you not working right now? Why are you writing down? You could be working. You could be working toward your future. Why are you not working right now? And like you're fat. Oh my gosh, why are you not working? Like, you got to be working. You could be working out. Like it was like literally that was the conversation. It was like everything about working. Like, I could like, and I was like, no wonder why I work 14 hours a day. This freaking inner critic is like freaking saying all these things, and talking with the inner critic, and to the point where basically, for some reason, the inner critic is a girl for me. I have no idea why, but anyway, to the point where she starts crying, and like I start wanting to cry. Like, it's because deeply down, like, I have voices that are super insecure about the way they look, about being successful. Thinking once we're successful, then someone will love me. Then I can love myself. Once I'm strong, then someone could love me. And then it's like, no, no, that that's not how that works. Like, we should love ourselves for who we are right now,
We
and
have to love
giving.
ourselves first.
Exactly, and then giving that love, but for that, with that inner critic. And it took a lot of time to make that happen, but eventually, like, we have a really good relationship now, where I don't have to work 14 hours a day, and I don't criticize myself every single second for not working out. And it makes it where I just have a lot better balance inside my brain, rather than just working 14 hours a day.
For sure, for sure. And another little a tool is to, again, it's acknowledging, it's having that conversation, and recognizing that it is us.
Hmm.
We are hearing something. We don't know exactly where it is, but again, the choice. And when you finally put your stake in the ground and say, you know what? I am killing myself. I am not helping myself. I am actually killing myself by working out so much. And who says I'm fat?
Hmm.
Who says that I am fat? What is the criteria, and really get realistic criteria for weight? For my height, my build, what is the criteria for fat? And yeah, there usually is something far more beyond that. But once you get that as a realistic, oh, okay, well, I this is not true, is it? But hey, it's been part of my life for so long. I'm fat. Deal with it. So, but when you put your stake in the ground and say, no, I am who I am, and I am proud of who I am, and I am moving towards something that I love, because it's something inside of me. And when I look inside of me and I feel this, I love what I'm feeling. I feel the joy inside, and that is number one. To feel that joy, to feel that love inside of me. And what it is, those little voice, that critical voice, I call her Amy because it's the amygdala, Amy.
Mhm.
And maybe that's why you
That's
have a
funny.
girl's
I
voice.
like that.
So it's in the amygdala. And I remember the day I actually, because all of my tools I have experienced or I've tried. And if I tell you what might work, I will qualify it if it is something that I have never done before. But in this particular case, I said, darn it, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not flaking out anymore. I'm going to do something because when I think about accomplishing it, it feels awesome. And I'm not going to let anybody or anything stop me. And I immediately heard that little voice saying, oh, but you always have. You're a people pleaser. Remember that? Remember? You're a people pleaser. You you want to make sure everybody loves you. You need love. And if you do anything against other people, you are not going to be loved. And love is my number one value. Okay. With that thought process, you become a people pleaser and then you lose yourself. And that's exactly what I did. It took me 5 years to find myself again. If I ever knew. I honestly don't know if I ever knew because I've been a people pleaser my whole life. But
Mhm.
what was amazing, Victor, when I spoke to Amy, I said, look, at this point in time, I am finished. I am moving forward. Either you're coming with me and helping me, or step to the side because I'm
Mhm.
not listening to you. I don't need your negativity. I am moving forward. And you are part of me. I know you want the best for me. I know you're trying to keep me safe by telling me all of these horrible things that are keeping me miserable, but you're not. So step to the side or help me. Give me ideas that will move me forward. Oh, it was like, whoa, whoa. I feel great. I don't have any of those voices talking to me now. This feels so. Why didn't I do this sooner? Talk about easy. Either help me or step to the side because I'm moving forward. I've made that decision. And
Mhm.
it's, oh, wow, that's really great. And when I realized that the key is in the people pleasing, the key is to recognize how amazing and powerful and awesome you are in your own right. You wouldn't be here on this earth if you were not supposed to be. You would not be here if, I mean, God didn't make any mistakes, they say. So you are not a mistake.
Mhm.
You are here to make a difference and to be you and all of you. And you can't do that if you're trying to please other people.
Yep.
So recognizing what it is and being able to communicate that so that when somebody comes into your life that you say, oh, well, you know what? I want to make a good impression. And heaven knows I do. Yeah, everybody does, right? We want to make a good impression. And I fail miserably at it quite often, to be quite honest. Does it bother me? Not anymore.
Mhm.
Not anymore. Um, and when I realized and started loving myself for who I am, that's when I could help others let go of their people pleasing so that they could love themselves. And when you love yourself, you don't have to be angry or push people away or anything else. If you are communicating in a loving way, and it's all about love, uh, and recognizing that there's reaction and there's responding. If you are reacting to something, that is usually in anger, frustration, sadness, whatever. But if you can respond in a reasonable, rational way and feel good inside yourself, you'd be amazed at how the other people around you start changing. And you didn't have to have those fears. They change and they say, oh, I just never knew that that's the way you felt. Really? Really? For the last 50 years, you didn't know that that was the way I felt? Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, let's do something to make it better. You didn't have to be the people pleaser.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. I know we can
Oh,
go on
sorry.
this for actually 7 more hours. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
I guarantee
he
it.
he
Uh,
teased me. He said it was 7 hours long. I took him at his word. Be impeccable with your word, Victor.
Karen, please tell the audience how to find you, how to get in contact with you, and everything else like that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook as Karen J. Stultz, Stultz. And I'd love to always have a conversation. Who knows, where things lead. I love joint ventures and seeing where things can lead. And that is um, on my website. Basically, it's karenstultz.com/let's talk.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen, so much for joining. And thank you, everyone, for watching. This is the Mind Workshop podcast. We'll catch you next time.